Hey guys, it's Kelsey and back with another scrapbooking process video, and today is scrap 5. So this is a recipe. We had to use a Pinterest pin for inspiration. We had to do a masculine or a boy layout. We had to use ribbon, at least 3 pattern papers, and have a cardstock base. So this is my Pinterest pin. Love this layout. Think it's super cute. Love all the layers. I kind of love that monochromatic feel with it being all neutrals with the pop of red. And I just thought it would work really well for this layout. I'm using that Black Magic cardstock as my cardstock base, and then I'm using scraps from my My Mind's Eye Meow collection because my photos are very monochromatic. They're very black and green. And when I think of black and green, I think of the Meow collection because it's pretty much all black and white with pops of, green and pink. So, pulled out a couple scraps, so I have my 3 patterns there. I have the black stripe, the gray stripe, and the green scallop. That green scallop, once I start putting my page together, starts reading very yellow. It's not the kind of green that I want, so I actually go to my stash and pull in a different green, but it's not a pattern paper. So I realize that kind of down the line and have to compensate by finding a 3rd pattern paper. But this part's really cool. I thought I caught this part out, but I'm running down to the garage right now to get a piece of sandpaper because this Black Magic cardstock's really cool. It has a colored backside, it has a colored core, and then the front of it is painted or colored black. So any kind of way you distress this paper, whether you tear it, sand it, scuff it up, however you want to do it, the color core will show through the black, which I think is really cool. So I will end up using that sandpaper to scuff up areas of this cardstock to help that green background show through. So I'm really pulling from that monochromatic feel of the Pinterest pin, and I'm also going to be following the different types of layers and embellishment spots. And even the specific type of embellishment for making this page. But these photos are from when Marcus and I played a VR game at a local that has like gaming and a bunch of other stuff. It's called Andretti's. I'd never been there before. I actually just went to pick Marcus up because him and a bunch of coworkers went to hang out. It's I don't even know how to describe it. It's like an adult Chuck E. Cheese. I don't know. But when I went to pick him up, he was like, you have to play this game with me. And so me and him and a friend, one of his coworkers, decided to play this VR game. And I have a treat for you guys because they emailed me the video footage at the end, and I put it at the end of this video for you guys because it's hysterical. We ended up playing a paranormal game, and Marcus, if you have been on for a while, you've probably heard him in the background, especially during lives, screaming like a little girl because he gets scared with his whole body and melts down, and it's hilarious, and he does it to himself, so we're all allowed to laugh at him, and we have video footage now for you guys. Fortunately, there's no audio, which is actually probably good. You probably don't want to hear his girly screams for 5 minutes straight. But I've already voiceovered it and watched it and reacted with you guys, so you have that. So it's not just quiet during the video, but it is so funny because he gets scared, and it's just, you see him trying to run in this VR machine, and it's funny. So anyways, you have that to look forward to at the end of the video, but that's why the pictures look like this. It was kind of like dark, and they had the infrared cameras recording us while we were playing. So that's why the photos are kind of funky, but that's why I really wanted to do this monochromatic with a lot of the black, white, and gray with the pops of that bright green, because I thought it lent itself to kind of a really cool different design. And I also thought video games, I could include, gears and other motifs that are more masculine, and that kind of fits with that other scrap 5 recipe to do a masculine boy layout. I just feel like video games fit in that niche. So this is where I started layering. I pulled in one of those film strips from 49 Market you guys saw me start using last month, and I'm just starting to follow the sketch to get some layers down. I am using my scraps, so some of the proportions are a little different, but I'm okay with that. I'm not trying to be super exact, but I just really liked how the layers came together, so I'm trying to do something similar. And this is where once I start getting all my layers together, I realize that the green in the Meow collection is clashing with the green in the pictures. So I pull in this green from my stash. I don't even know why I have this green. It's a very like alien neon green, and I don't know why I would have bought it, but it turns out it's perfect for this layout. So I'm just pulling in a couple scraps to serve as that pop of color. I'm using it kind of where they use the red piece in the sketch, where it's kind of a long vertical piece behind the photo. So I like that because you see the pop of green at the top and bottom of the photo. And now I'm using a notebook edge punch. They used a scallop detail, but I'm going to use the notebook edge. I think it's a little bit more masculine than a scallop to create this border piece that's going to run down the left side of the page. So this immediately I love. It gives you that visual triangle with the pop of green in the 3 places. And I think it ties in really well to my background that has the green peeking through those distress marks. So I'm loving how it's turning out. I'm going to go ahead and start trying to glue stuff down. You'll notice I'm not gutting anything this month with not having a kit for How to Kill a Kit with Style. I'm reverting to stash, and some of the stuff that's been in my stash for a really long time or stuff that I have duplicates of, I'm not worried about gutting. I just want to use it up. So no gutting on this one, which I know several of you will be happy about. I know sometimes it can be frustrating watching all the gutting, so you get a reprieve. I am really sad because it wasn't until the almost end of this video or this making this page that I realized I didn't use my book paper. That was the whole point of this month, since I wasn't playing along with a kit for How to Kill a Kit with Style, was I would at least get book paper on all of the pages. And this was actually the very first layout I made this month, even though you guys are seeing it a little bit later for Scrap 5. But yeah, I didn't get the book paper on here. But you know, even if I had remembered before now, I don't think it would have worked because the book paper is aged yellowing paper. That's a cream base. And this layout is looking very sharp with the bright white, and I don't think I would have used it anyways. I think the kind of antiqued paper would have thrown this look off, so it's okay. But I don't get it on this one. I kind of revisit my recipe and I realized I need some ribbon. I had pulled in some ribbon from Ronnie that was a really cute gingham, but I realized once I was going to lay it on this more white paper with the skinny black line, I wanted more of a black ribbon, so there was more contrast. So I actually pulled this black ribbon in that I snitched from Christmas. So when my mom wraps presents, she goes all out. Every single present is very fancily wrapped, and she does a really detailed like tag with fancy ribbon, and it's always just beautiful. And I steal all the ribbon at the end of Christmas to use for scrapbooking. So this is some ribbon from Christmas that I stole. Well, actually I saved it from the garbage, so I'm glad I'm getting it on a page. And I think this ribbon's really cool because it's a black ribbon and it's just got white stitching down the sides. So it fits in my color scheme, but it gives me a little bit more contrast. And then you can kind of see what I'm doing now. I'm pulling in some die cuts that Ronnie had sent me. I knew I had some more of these gears and I really wanted to get them on this page since it's a VR game. But in the sketch, they kind of have this chain link fence die cut in a couple areas, and Ronnie actually sent me that exact die cut too. So they weren't black, and I wanted them to be. So at first I tried to spray them with my Heidi Swap Black Color Shine, but because of the silver mica in it, it was turning out more silver than black. So I went back with my Bombay Black India ink and used that to paint them because that gives you a really solid black color. So now that that's dry, I'm going to add this little like chain link fence die cut to 2 areas. And I was trying to pick between the chain link fence and the gears, and I was like, why do I have to pick? I can have both. So once I kind of figured out where they were going to go, that helped a little bit. But I like this chain link fence kind of going on opposite sides of the page, and they kind of are coming out from my embellishment clusters, so they're not completely detached. But I like the extra texture, and because it's black on black, it's kind of subtle, but once you notice it, I think it's a cool detail. So I'm going to get both of those glued down, and then It took me a while too to figure out where to put those gear die cuts, but I kind of like where they are now. So once I get all the big layers glued to the background, I think I'll go back and get those secured too. But I knew I wanted them in those two areas on opposite corners of the photos. So I think what I ended up with was best. So now that I'm getting all this glued down, I can start focusing more on embellishment. These die cuts were a big portion of the embellishment. I just wanted cool texture and cool shapes and kind of bring in that masculine vibe a little bit. But I needed an actual like focal point, like an actual icon for these clusters, because it just felt like it was missing something to look at. Like I feel like all of these are really cool layering bits, but I just needed something to add. And so I actually went to my wood veneer because I realized, oh, I'm documenting a video game. I've been like hoarding this wood veneer that's kind of video game arcade themed. And even though we were playing like a scary paranormal game, I still think that this fits because Andretti's itself is like a giant arcade with, I don't know if there's go-karting and other stuff in there. I think there might be laser tag. I was really just in the arcade section when I went to go pick up Marcus. But I thought these wood veneer with different little arcade icons were perfect. But this is the point where I realized because I switched my green pattern paper out to a green cardstock, I needed to find a third pattern paper for the recipe. So I have multiple of these black and white diagonal stripe papers. I think they're super versatile, but I haven't used them a lot because sometimes I worry they're going to read prison or Beetlejuice or something. But I thought if I used it as a mat around the entire page, it would pull that black and white in around the page and frame the cardstock really nicely. And I don't get prison or Beetlejuice when you see it in this small little portion. So that's my addition to get the third pattern paper on here. I think it looks really cool. And then this is where you can see me going through my wood veneer stash, trying to pull in all of the arcade themed stuff. So you can see there's a couple robots, a couple little arcade characters, and then there's a couple words that say like beep boop. I knew I needed to color these. Initially, I thought I was going to use that Bombay Black India ink to color them black. But then I was like, oh, I shouldn't do black. I should do green to pull some more green in because I think the black would have just made these blend in. And so then I was thinking to go to acrylic ink, but there's so much detail on these wood veneer that would just get covered up if I tried to do acrylic ink. So when I have these more detailed pieces, ink is best over paint, in my opinion. I've never tried watercoloring these. I'm sure you could, and I think that would be fine. But I have acrylic ink, and I just knew it would cover up all the details. So I go for my, I haven't used it in forever, Dilutions. Dilutions has a bright green that I thought would go really well with the colors of this page. And I haven't used it in a really long time. But I thought it would be perfect because it'll give me that color green without covering up all of the details. So I just do 2 coats of this green on these wood veneer, and then I set them aside to dry overnight, and then I come back and glue them all down. But I think this is a really fun touch too. This green also goes like a little bit yellow, but I think once they're dry and they're on the page, and I really like adding a little bit more of that green. I didn't want it to be just those 3 scraps of green paper that gave you that color. So I think having these on there was just what it needed. And I think it adds a really fun detail because these wood veneer are so cute. I think I'm almost done. I think I'm just going in with my second coat. I did also pull in a heart wood veneer because I decided not to use a bee boop wood veneer. And I thought like I needed one extra thing to have with the 2 characters at the top of the page, because at the bottom I have the robot and 2 of the characters. At the top I just had those 2 characters. So I think adding little wood veneer heart between them was really cute. So I think that I like the veneer in each area, and they kind of have their own little look. Okay, so now they're dry. I'm going to go ahead and glue them down. I forgot my Tombow Monomolte ran out and I didn't throw it away. So I struggled a little bit at first with my Tombow Monomolte glue, because that was the glue I was initially going to use. But it ran out, so I tossed it. Now I have my Nuvo glue, which also is one of my favorite glues. and that's what I use to glue all of these down. And then I contemplate doing some more, but I think with all of the different die cuts and these cool wood veneer and having the distressed background, I was okay not having super layery embellishment, because I think what I have is already interesting, and if I add anything, it might take away from that. So I do stop there with embellishment, and then I go into my title. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to title this. I really thought about titling it just VR, just to title what we're doing. You can see the Andretti, I don't know, go-karting in games, I think is what it's called. Part of it's cut off in the picture itself. But the problem was when I went with my thickers, the V in the font I wanted to use really looked like a U. So I didn't want to do VR. So what I end up saying is just titling it Andretti, since the name did get cut off in the photo. And that way at least I have something. But I like that juicy black foam alpha. I think it fills that space in down there and adds a nice pop of bold black. And then I also added a couple periods to the other two clusters just to have that foam texture somewhere else and just a little extra. But that's this layout. Close-ups are here in a minute, and then stay tuned to the video of us playing this game. Marcus is hysterical in it. He is so funny. So here are the close-ups. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you check out everyone else playing along with Scrap 5. Thanks. Bye. Okay, so here we go. Here is the recording of us playing this game. This is from Marcus's perspective, because his was so much funnier than mine. I just watch him on this. There's no audio for this recording, otherwise I would just let it play out. They only sent us the video, so I'm gonna voice over it with you because I haven't watched this like since it happened, which is over a year ago. And I just remember dying laughing as I went back to watch it. So it's Marcus and me and one of his coworkers. I am the person right there called Golden Phoenix. That's my gamer tag. We didn't get to pick our bodies, so we're all boys, but I think this is hysterical. You don't see our friend so much in this because it's from Marcus's perspective and he was following me. But as you can see, I'm the one that's going into all the next areas. This is like a paranormal investigation game, and it's supposed to be under that kind of horror genre. And if you guys have heard, probably even in my voiceovers, Marcus screaming in the background as he's playing games like this while I am scrapbooking. And this is why it's so hysterical, because he gets scared with his whole body, and having this VR recording of him playing is just the best. It's like 5 minutes. You don't have to watch it all, but it gets so funny towards the end when the scary things really start happening. But I think this is funny because this is my first time playing a VR game, and I'm in the front of this horror game the entire time, running into the next areas while he's like hiding behind me, waiting to see what happens. So I'm way up there. He's running. Look at him. This is so funny. Gross, scary things do pop up a little bit, so I just want to give you forewarning for this game. I don't think it's not near as intense as when we were in the game, because obviously it's like right in front of you otherwise. But you can just see how scared his body language is. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to the point where he really gets scared. It's so funny. We're strapped into these machines with this circular domed bottom that we can walk on, that our feet slide on. So it's literally walking as we walk. And it's so funny when he tries to run away, because he's just strapped into this little machine and he's trying so hard. You can see him bending forward, trying to keep his balance. I think that was his friend just then. At one point in the game, I went down a different route, and he and his friend went towards a separate location. Then we end up back together. I don't know, but I think this is a point where I deviated thinking they were still behind me, and they weren't. So I ended up in this game by myself for a portion. But they were still funny. They like almost didn't know what to do without me in front of them. They're just like scared to go forward. They should have kept following me. But I'm realizing now as I'm watching them play that they're just staying in the same room, like not wanting to continue. Yeah. I think at a certain point when one of your teammates gets to a certain checkpoint, because I'm pretty sure I kept going and got to the checkpoint before them, so it flung them forward to where I was in the game. And so I don't think they were expecting what happened, because it was a point in the game that I reached, but they had stayed in this one room too scared to go forward. So they kind of just got discombobulated and thrown into this other scenario, but they're still standing in the same room trying not to move. I think, look how scared he got. He just he's screaming right now. I so wish we had audio. He got so scared. He started looking up at the ceiling because he didn't want to see what was there. Did you see? Oh my gosh, this is so funny. He's look at him. Oh my gosh. So I'm pretty sure at that part of the game, like a ghost or something creepy popped up and like gave them a warning to not continue or something. And then it faded out. So now they're running into the next portion and their lights went out. Look at him. Oh, he's so scared. The whole time on my version of this, look at him running. He's trying to fight them. Oh my gosh, my perspective of I can't. Oh my gosh. I'm just laughing at them this whole time. The game's over. This was all it was. It was really short, but the whole time I'm just running forward in this game and left them behind and just dying because I'm hearing him scream the entire time. But that was it. I hope you guys enjoyed. That was so funny.